Hello dears, welcome to English classes at Radhika. Today we are going to learn the chapter from A05 Readings on Indian Literatures, that is the future of the past. And it is actually an editorial which is published on 9th February 2010. This editorial is focusing upon the preservation of indigenous language and the culture thereby. Language very important? Shaping thoughts. Language is very important in shaping one's thoughts. Language is not just for communication, but a medium that shapes our thinking, as noted by philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein. Ludwig Wittgenstein is telling about the importance of language, which is not at all, not only for communication, but it shapes our thinking also. The passing of Boa Senior. And it is said that in this article, it is said that the Boa Senior, who was an indigenous woman, lived in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and who was the last person who spoke the Boa language, and it was a very indigenous or ancestral language in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And what happened to this Boa Senior? She has died, and with her death, the whole language itself has died. No one in this world is speaking this Boa language after the death of Boa Senior. Fragility of indigenous people. The indigenous people of the Andaman Islands face threats to their lives and culture due to colonization and neglect. We know that all the indigenous culture and language are replaced by the name of civilization. The tribal people are suffering the most. And what happened after the invasion of the British, or after the invasion of the colonizer? All the indigenous culture and languages will be replaced by the language of the foreigner and the culture of the foreigners. So there is a threat for this Andaman tribals after the invasion. There occurred a cultural erosion or cultural destruction, dwindling population. After the invasion of the British colonizers, what happened in the Andaman Nicobar Islands was the population of the great Andamanese has drastically decreased. Why? What happened to them? That is, a lot of people were killed by the colonizer, and they could not survive the diseases which were caused by the colonizers. The colonizers, that is the British people have brought a lot of diseases to their colonies, and that is the people who lived in those colonies were aboriginals or indigenous people. They could not heal those diseases as the British or the as they are unknown to the allopathic treatment. And in this way, a lot of people have died in these Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and a population erosion or cultural erosion has been happened after this. Neglect of diversity. While the Andamans are celebrated for their biodiversity, the cultural and linguistic diversity of the indigenous people has been neglected. We know that what happened after the invasion of the British colonizers, and they are trying to impose their own culture on our culture, and we cannot represent our culture amidst of the British culture, because they are ruling over us. And thereby we know that the culture of the Andaman and Nicobar tribals were also neglected. What happened to the languages of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, the indigenous languages of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, after the invasion of the British colonizers and after the um, coming of the mainlanders, the indigenous language has been fading voices. Only three other tribes like Jarawas, Onges, and Sentinelese. These are the three tribes who have survived the British colonizers and the other mainlanders in Andaman Nicobar Islands, and their population is very less and very they are only a few tribal people are survived, and as a result of this, what happened, they could not preserve their language. Only these few people are there representing the Andaman and Nicobar indigenous or the original aboriginals or the original culture of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Linguistic heritage. We know that it is not at all a joke that this Andaman Nicobar Island possess a language, Andamanese language, which is one of the 5 language families in India. So it needs preservation. A political enterprise. That is, we cannot simply sit and watch the erosion of this language or the uh, wiping out of this language from this world. Preservation is not solely an academic endeavor, but a political enterprise empowering indigenous communities for autonomous and sustainable preservation. So we should have to move politically in order to preserve, in order to protect these indigenous cultures in India. Not only the Andamanese, but this is the situation or case of almost all the tribals in India. So it is the duty of the political leaders and political powers to protect these people and their culture. It's very important to protect the heritage of the Indian community or the tribal people, cultural continuity. In order to continue their culture, we should have to, or the rest of the people should have to allow them to protect their own heritage. That is, these tribal people should have to protect their heritage. Then only such people will get a freedom to protect their culture. Local resources, and they have to utilize the local resources rather than the imported or the imitated things like the colonizers or other mainlanders. And it is very important for preserving cultural diversity of the tribal people. And it is said that they should have to use their own language at least, then in order to protect their language community and their great culture. It is very important to safeguard this culture or the future. In order to do that, we have to preserve the ancients or the indigenous people. As part of this, it is our duty as cultured or civilized people to protect the tribal, so tribal culture and their language also. And we should have to preserve the linguistic and cultural diversity which are very unique to the Andamanese. And we know that this is not only the case of Andamans, but almost all cultures, especially the indigenous cultures like the tribal cultures, are decreasing or at the point of um, eradication now. So we should have to keep it in mind always. This is a video based on the chapter The Future of the Past, which comes in the book A05 Readings on Indian Literature, The Common Cause for BA BSc. Hope you have understood this video very much. While you are watching the video, don't forget to make notes. Then only you can understand the video very clearly. Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice day.